Well, hello everybody. Yes, it's 2 o'clock on a Wednesday, and that means one thing. It is time for Make Stories Matter. I'm Matthew Taylor with Persuasion Through Narrative, and we get together at this time to kind of chat about story a little bit. And we have a little nugget or a little piece each week that we kind of explore. And this week, what are we exploring? And you're like, you should know because you're doing the bloody thing. So I'll tell you what we're exploring rather than ask you. We are going to explore Get to It. Exposition Kills. So I'm sure most of you have seen the musical You're in Town. I'm not the only person, but there's a great opening scene in the musical, and there's the police officer that kind of is the narrator that runs through it, and a little girl that runs on, and she comes. He's starting to introduce the musical, and she runs on, and she runs up to him and goes, "Oh, officer, you're going to tell him about the water shortage and all that." And he goes, "Whoa, whoa, 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 little lady." He goes, nothing ruins a good musical than too much exposition. And then she also points out that it goes all about title or about content. But it's a great musical. You should probably go see it. But exposition is what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. And so have you ever had somebody start telling you a story and it keeps going and it's kind of holding you a little bit? It's like going along and it's going along and it's going along, but then nothing really happens for a really long time. And this is what happens when we have a little bit too much exposition up front. And so let's talk about what is exposition and do we actually need it? And so really, exposition is what will give us context. Uh, but the issue we come up with is us humans often seem to think that we need a whole ton of it. It's like they need to know everything before they can make sense of it. But the truth is, we only need enough to make sense of it, and we're really clever creatures. I mean, we're smart and we love to puzzle things out. And so we really often need so much less than people think. Now, in one of my storytelling workshops, I had a lady who told this beautiful story about she was getting engaged in Hawaii, and we were in Denver where we were doing the storytelling workshop, and she started in Denver, and her fiance to be or was going to propose, yeah, got in the car and they drove to Denver International Airport, and it was snowy and they're heading to Hawaii, and I was like, here they go, this is awesome. They got on the plane, and then the plane took off and it went up, and I was like, oh, here we go, it's like, here we go. And then the plane landed in San Francisco because there's not a direct flight to Hawaii from Denver. So they got on another plane, and the plane took off and it went up it went. I was like, oh, here we go. And then it landed in Hawaii. And I was like, start in Hawaii. We will all know that you got there. And most of us will think that you took a plane. And if you swam, you're probably telling us the wrong story. So just jump right to Hawaii. But it was so important for her to let us know about these other elements. And you'll see it all the time. So when we say get to it, what are we actually saying get to what? So if you think about structure, and we're going to look at structure next week in a little bit more detail, and this point in particular. But if you look at a kind of story structure, a real basic one that you'll see, and I often kind of talk about Freytag's pyramid, or Gustav Freytag, this German dude. And you have the exposition, it goes along, and then something happens, and you have this rising action, you get a climax and a falling action, and then you have the resolution, is a quick way of it. Well, the it, or what we're talking about, is the inciting incident. And it is that change that occurs when we got from the exposition before the rising action starts. And the rising action is what we're really interested in. I mean, that's when everything starts taking off. And so think of that incident as a break in the routine. Something happens that triggers all the next events. That is really the story. So that's what we're saying get to. And get there in a hurry, because that's what we're all waiting for. Now, the other part that sometimes can be a bit misleading is that sometimes at stories you'll have a hook at the beginning. I don't know if you know, or if I'm the first person to let you know this, but a very well-known Englishman sadly passed away. Sean Connery is no longer with us. So the original James Bond, and God bless his cotton socks and all those martinis, fast cars, and women probably got the better eventually of him. But a fabulous man and well known, obviously, through England and loved for all of the work that he did. But if you ever saw a James Bond movie and they're the same now as they were when he was back doing the first ones, think about how they start. And it literally, before the credits even, boom, all of a sudden he's in a helicopter or on a jet ski or skiing down a mountain, leaping off a cliff, and a parachute opens, and then it's just chaos, explosions, everything. And it all happens before even the credits run. And it's called the hook. And all it is there is to grab your audience. And so if you are sharing a story or telling a story, that is an option as well. And the hook really has no exposition. It's just action. It's something right there. And it's filled in kind of afterwards. And then that makes sense. And then it goes along a little bit and you'll have the pieces. And then the inciting incident and the start of the rising action in the actual story that you're happening. So that's, sometimes people are like, oh, is that the same thing? And it's like, nah, they're a little bit different on that. So that's kind of the piece. But really it's the rising action that we're interested in. And the other thing that you can think about is you don't have to give us all the exposition at the beginning. Because even though the rising action is moving and little events will be happening, it will be building the tension and taking up towards the climax, there's ample time at that point to fill in other little pieces that might just need to give clarification. But you don't have to do it all up front. It just slows everything down. Now, we got Thanksgiving rolling around. We've managed to tick off Halloween now. And so Thanksgiving, the next one looming. Brilliant place to watch stories happening around you, especially when you're around a family table. And it's great because you don't have to be so censored as well. You can just look and go, oh, there goes Uncle Ronnie. I can't believe he's at it again. And he's telling 3 stories at the same time, and they're all as equally dull. And then you can now know and piece together why they are. And then when you chat to him, you can help him tell slightly better stories by going, oh, tell us a little bit more about that. Or give us some more detail here. Or maybe what actually happened, Uncle Ronnie. Anyway, now I've probably wrecked your Thanksgiving dinners, as you'll just have constant rows and all the rest. By the way, you might notice that I am not in my usual little place with the books and all the rest. I'm down in Dingley Dell by the lake. I am literally cabin side. There's a lake out the back in Nashville. And I am down here because I'm going to be talking or doing a little talk to the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, all about story and how to incorporate that and be able to help them humanize their clients and all those kind of little pieces. And so that is why this is my first Facebook Live. That is not happening actually at 2 o'clock. It is happening at 2 o'clock Mountain Time, which it always will, but it's actually 3 o'clock here. Maybe we will do a whole piece on time. And what is time? Maybe not. We'll see, because I'd probably have to think about that. And I know nothing about it. But yeah, I have to extend a thank you to my buddy Matt Need, who's put me on the lakeside here and managed to literally pick me up at the airport. I've zoomed straight in here, plugged in, and loving being with you guys. So that's a little bit on this exposition. Think about that. And so the tip that we have is get to it. And the it being that change from the exposition to the rising action, the inciting incident. So think about what is it that happened that changed everything, and aim to get there quickly. And if your audience needs a little bit of help, you can fill it in as the action climbs. So that's our little bit there. Thanks so much for people tuning in, and I love getting the comments and people chatting and posting stuff and having little conversations about this. And because of that, I do have a Facebook group which is Powerfully Fun Storytelling, and would love you to subscribe in there. I'm still a bit foggy on whether it's subscribe or join or do things, but share, send things around the place. Get everybody to chat about stories. It would make me really happy. So that would be good. Do have a virtual workshop coming up November 9th on Tuesday, 9:30 to 12:30. or 12. I even know that as well. It's falling apart. That's because I'm in Dingley Dell and I'm by the river or the lake. It's a lake, it's not a river. And then there's a second one on the 16th. So that would be it. Also, you can sign up if you want to chat about stories, or you're thinking about, is the workshop right, or there's some corporate work or something you might want to chat with me about. You can sign up on my website and for a little 15-minute chat with me, and we'll send you a Zoom link and you and I can suss stuff out as we go. Other than that, I think we're about done for this one. And it is, I've been very excited. You can hear the tech crew in the background laughing their ass off because it's just, they're like, stop, just quit right now, Matthew. Thanks so much, you guys. You have a great one. Stick your notes in and questions and thoughts, and we will continue to chat about story. Next week, we're going to be looking at the structure and looking a little bit more about this inciting incident and what it actually looks like and how it works. Take care. Have a great one. We'll catch you soon.